Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining me for another live career Q&A show here on my channel. If we have never met before, I am Heather Austin from ProfessorAustin.com, and on this channel, I teach professionals just like you how to build your personal brand so that you can land your dream job and grow in a field you love. Thank you for joining me today. We have so much content planned for you. Today we are talking about a career change post-pandemic. So I'm going to share with you 5 steps that you can take right now for a successful career switch. So make sure you get out your favorite notepad, make sure you get out your favorite pen, or if you take notes on your computer, get that out. You are going to want to take notes today because the steps that I'm sharing with you are very actionable. Now, here's the cool thing. We are taking questions. So if you have a question, make sure you pop that into the chat. Tori is here. Tori is my amazing assistant. She is going to be taking your questions and getting them in front of me. Now, these could be questions related to your resume, LinkedIn, anything about finding a job, anything about the pandemic, anything about the current job climate market that we're all experiencing right now. So make sure you get your questions in. I have so many fantastic things planned for you today. Say hello in the chat also. And if you are watching this on the replay, make sure you say hello in the comments down below. I'm going to say hello to a couple of you guys. I know that you jumped in early. I'm super excited to have you. Also, I would love to know if you are already a member of our free Facebook group, The Career Club. Make sure you type that in there as well. Just let us know, already a member. Tori's going to share the link with you in the chat. Here's the cool thing about being a member of that group. You actually get to pick topics for me to come on and live stream about. So I asked my group last week or the beginning of last week, and I said, hey, what do you guys need help on? And so many of you said, I'm changing careers, I'm making a career pivot, I have these skills, I need to now know how to use them, I want to get out of what I'm doing and jump into something new. So I am going to share with you exactly what you need to do today. So if you are not a member of that club or that group, get into that group right now. You do have to request to join. We don't just let everyone in there. So make sure you give us some thoughtful answers when you request to join as to why you're wanting to join the group. So again, let me know in the chat if you are already in the Career Club or if you are an Academy member of mine. So if you are in my signature program, World Class Career Academy, make sure you type that into the chat as well. I'm going to say hello to a few of you guys here. Irene, it looks like you jumped in super early from New York. Again, Tori's here. Linda, hello. So happy that you could join me. I'm excited to do some group coaching with you coming up here in October. Catherine, hello from the UK. Michelle is here from Toronto. Joan is here from Rhode Island. Hello, Doug. Super happy to have you from Atlanta. Looks like we have Michelle from North Carolina. Fantastic. So happy to have you guys here. We have a lot of you here. We have South Africa here. Kristen, hello. Already a member of the Career Club. So glad that you could make it. Angela is here. I know you're already a member too. So happy to have you guys here. We are going to cover some very actionable steps. And also, if you've never been to a live stream of mine, I ask you a lot of questions. So I want you to be popping into the chat with some of your answers as we go throughout this time that we have today. Now, I do want to make a quick mention before we jump into the live stream, today's live stream. We are holding an encore event. It's our live resume writing virtual event. We held this event a couple weeks ago. It was so big. We had over 3,000 people view this event, and I've had so many people come in and say, Heather, I couldn't catch the replay. Can I still watch it? And unfortunately, that replay's over, but we are doing the event again. So I'm going to pop up really quickly a page for you, and Tori will give you the link in the comments as well. We are going to be holding How to Write a Resume That Lands You More Interviews and Better Job Offers a week from today. So if you have not yet saved your spot for this free event, this will actually be the last time we hold this event until 2021. So we're not going to be holding an official resume writing webinar again until 2021. So make sure if you are a job seeker and you feel stuck, you're spending a lot of time on your resume, you're just not sure why you're not landing interviews and better job offers and all that good stuff that comes along with being a job seeker, make sure you sign up for this free event. You'll also have a chance to ask questions. So we're covering customizing your resume. We're going to talk about how to write an attention-grabbing summary. We're talking about the applicant tracking system, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. We're talking about how to update your resume if you've been laid off. So you're going to go to professораustin.com/live class. Tori is also sharing another link for you in the comments or inside of the chat. So get to that page, save your seat. This event will not be held again until 2021, and I want you there to ask some of your biggest resume questions or things that you have problems or just any questions that you have about your job search. So that is the first item of business today. Now, let's jump into basically what we're going to talk about. So let me transition to my next slide here. And I want to say thank you to all the Career Club members because you guys are the ones that said, Heather, this is what I need to learn about. I need to know how to change my career. I need some steps on how to change my career post-pandemic. So that's what we're talking about today. Again, if you guys have never met me before, my name is Heather Austin. I am a career strategist. I'm also a business strategist, but mainly career. I have been a university professor for 15 years. My number one goal is to help you find your dream job so that you can grow in a field you love. So that's who I am. If you can hear me again and audio is going good for you on this live stream, give this video a big, huge thumbs up. Also, don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you're notified when I do these live trainings or when I publish a video. And I do it every single week to help you overcome some of your greatest challenges. Now, while you're hitting that subscribe button and giving this video a thumbs up, I also want to know, so tell me in the chat, what line of work are you currently in? So what is your field? What industry do you work in? And this could be maybe, let me know if you're even transitioning at this point. Let me know what line of work you are currently in. And we're going to jump into something. Before I share the steps with you, I have to share something really quickly. So when we're talking about a career transition or a career change, one thing that you have to keep in mind, so this is an ultimate necessary step that you have to keep in mind, is you need to know how to do a skills and training assessment. So the skills and training assessment is what is going to help you pinpoint what skills you have now, and it's going to help you figure out what skills do you need to acquire or what skills are maybe you're not seeing that maybe you have that can go or relate into this new industry. So where do you need to be to actually be successful in this new industry? So I'm going to share with you a couple ways to do your skills and assessment training, and feel free to take a screenshot as we go along. I'll tell you what screens that you might want to screenshot. So when it comes to a skills and assessment training, there's 4 things you need to ask yourself. Number 1, what skills do you need to be successful in this role? Now, I'm going to share with you in just a minute how to do this. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of really good tips with you guys. But number 1, what skills do you need to be, are needed to be successful in your new role? Number 2, what additional training do you need? So do you need more education? Is there some sort of formal training? Maybe you could go into a trade program. Maybe there's an online learning program that you can attend. And keep in mind, guys, the tips that I'm sharing with you today are actually tips that you've already made the decision that you are making the career transition, okay? I did a live stream a couple weeks back where we talked about, is it time to make the career transition? And maybe Tori can pop that link up for you and you guys could watch that one if you're still second guessing. If you're still wondering, do I really want to make a career transition? That's kind of like another topic. And we have a live stream all about that. But today we are saying you already have decided, I'm changing careers. Now, where do I go from here? So again, what additional training do you need to be successful in your new role? What are the biggest pain points that the new industry is facing? So let's take, for example, that you've worked in the restaurant industry. Maybe you've been a restaurant owner, maybe you were a manager, maybe you were a server, and maybe you're now thinking, I don't want to be in this industry anymore. It's really unsteady. I need a paycheck. Maybe I want to jump into finance or healthcare, which are 2 really growing fields right now. Well, you need to know what pain points what pay points are the healthcare and the finance industry experiencing right now? So if we take healthcare, for example, a couple of the things that come to mind is medical errors, right? There's always errors happening in the healthcare industry. Supply chain management is a big one. Operational costs. Okay. So if you take this example and you say, well, as a restaurant owner or even as a server, I was really good at supply chain management. I was able to get the food in, get the food out. I could place orders when I needed to, bulk orders for when we needed items for the restaurant, whatever that is. You're now going to take the skills that you have and you're now transitioning them into the new industry. So you have to know the pain points of the new industry before you even start evaluating that. So that would be the third question to ask yourself. The next question, or the last question, before I share with you the 5 steps that you need to take to make a successful career change, is where can you fill in the gaps? So based on your research, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do your research today. I'm going to show you the exact steps you need to take based on your research. What skills do you need to acquire? Okay. What is the timeline? How fast is it going to take you to acquire these new skills? And then how does the employer see you? So how are you portraying yourself? How are you going to be the individual that is different from everyone else, that says, yeah, although I've been working in XYZ industry and I now want to transition to ABC industry, this is what I can bring. This is my unique talent. This is my unique ability. So again, we're going to evaluate that today. Okay, I want to give you guys an example. So again, I asked my career club members, I said, what do you guys need help with? They said career change all the way. That was the majority of the votes this week. So Amy popped into the club and she said, and this is again on Facebook, Tori will have the link for you down below in the chat or in the comments if you need to get into that group. Give us a little bit of time to accept everyone, because we get a lot of people in there every day. In fact, I think we're close to 7, we might even be over 7,000 members now in that group, and it's a super, super supportive community. So here Amy says, I have 15 years of experience as a graphic designer. And Amy, if you're here, say hello in the chat. And she says, and now I want to do software development. So we're going to take Amy as our case study. She's going to be our example. We're going to walk through exactly what she would do in order to achieve this. And I have some questions for you guys coming up here, so make sure you stay tuned. So tip number 1 is research and knowledge is key. So before you even go into this new industry, so we're going to take Amy as an example. She's a graphic designer. She wants to do software development. Before she can even go into this new industry, she needs to know what the position requires. So what is needed to be successful in this position. And I want you to think of this as your toolbox, okay? If you're going through these same motions. So the very first thing I'm going to have you do, and have Amy do, and all you career switchers or career changers out there, is I want you to go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. So here's their website, bls.gov/OOH. Now, I understand that a lot of you are not in the United States that are tuning into this live stream or watching this replay. That's okay. Still use this website as a resource, because we're not necessarily looking at salary ranges and all that stuff. What we're looking at is more of the day-to-day and the duties. So bls.gov/OOH. That is the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm going to show you how fantastic and amazing this resource is. Now, if I'm Amy, I'm going to jump over to that resource. Here's a screenshot of what it's going to look like when you get to that screen. I'm going to type in software developer. So there's a little search bar on the right. We're going to just type in what field we want to go into so we can learn a little bit more about it. Next thing that's going to happen is it's going to give you a list of occupations. Now, keep in mind, if you are not a career switcher and you're here today, that's totally okay. I want you to be here. You can still follow these same guidelines for the current position that you're looking for. Okay. In fact, you'll find a lot of really good information here. Now, notice that software developers pop up in our list. The other thing I want Amy to do, and all of you other people, is I want you to evaluate what other positions are listed that are related to what you're doing. So for example, web developer pops up on this list. Well, the interesting thing about that is Amy could make a transition, and it could even be a temporary transition from graphic designer to web developer. That might be easier than for her to go straight into software developer. So again, keep in mind that you might have to find a position that's in the middle that you're in for just a little bit of time and you're learning some additional skills, and then you go for your ideal position. So that's something to consider. Now, once we go to look at our software developer position, I want you to spend some time on this page. You'll notice that you have a quick facts report. This gives you median pay, education, all that good stuff, the outlook. But what I want you to focus on mainly on this page is I want you to go to what do they do? So what do software developers do? This is where you're going to learn the exact duties and the day-to-day functions. Duties and day-to-day functions. Then the other tab I want you to look at is how to become one. So this is where you're going to learn about the education. You're even going to learn about what the career advancement opportunities look like. So let's say, for example, I'm a software developer. An advancement for a software developer could be an IT project manager. That would be like the next step. And maybe Amy has her eyes on that as well. And then you're also going to learn about important quality. So for example, if I take software developer as an example, that's analytical skills, someone that's detail oriented. They need someone that has interpersonal skills. Keep in mind all of these items that you're finding on this website that I'm sharing with you. You can take that now and you can put it in your resume, you can put it in your LinkedIn profile, and you can mention it in your interviews. So again, you have to know what the industry needs. You have to know what the position entails before you can even start like research or start interviewing for those types of positions. So I have a question for you. Yes or no? Give me a yes or no in the chat. Have you made a successful career transition before? So if you have been a career switcher, let me know in the chat if you've made a successful career transition before. Also, keep in mind while you are typing that in, if you have a question, and I know a lot of you guys that are here are probably career changers. If you have a question, pop that in. If I don't answer it throughout this these tips that I'm going to share with you, I'll answer it at the end of this live stream. Also, remember, don't forget to register for our encore presentation, our resume writing masterclass next week. Let me pop that page up one more time so you guys can get that. If you have not yet registered, you are going to do that today. If you need to know how to write a better resume, we are talking a little bit about resumes today. You'll pop your name and email address into the box, and then I will send you all of the good details when it comes to all that. Okay, so yes or no, have you had a successful career change? I'm seeing some yeses. Good. Joanne says very helpful. G. Moore says no. Catherine says no. Joanne says yes, I have. Fantastic. Not yet. Yes, I'm seeing some yeses and mostly no's, but some yeses. Good. Lisa says I went from accounting to sales. Good. That's amazing. Kristen says no. Okay, so I'm going to share with you guys. We're not done here. We still have some steps to cover. So the first tip that I shared with you is you're going to go to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics to get an idea of what the position entails. Now, let me share this. I don't have a slide on this, but really quickly, remember that you don't have to just use the Bureau of Labor Statistics. I like it because I feel like it's the most accurate. However, with COVID, the data for 2020 is going to be a little bit skewed. Just keep that in mind. But still, you'll have the day-to-day duties. You'll have what's required to get into that position. You'll still have the general information. I like that resource because it's most accurate, what I have found. But there's other resources out there that you can use as well. Okay, let's jump into our second tip. So second tip is find out who's hiring right now. So you've decided, I'm Amy, and I'm a graphic designer. I've looked up the software developer thing on the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. I'm like, yes, this is what I want to do. I need to now look at who is hiring, okay? So I'm going to give you guys exact steps to do this. I'm going to jump over to LinkedIn. If you do not have a LinkedIn account, you have to get one. I'm telling you, as a job seeker, it's one of the most valuable resources you can have in your toolbox is your LinkedIn account, because you're going to use it for networking, job searching, all that good stuff. So I'm Amy. I'm jumping over to LinkedIn right now, and in the top search bar, you can search for people, jobs, groups, all sorts of stuff. I'm searching for a job, but notice what I'm doing here. I'm saying software developer entry level. So I just want to know the entry level jobs. I'm not going to try and get into like a senior management level position or a very experienced software developer, because again, I'm new to this software developer industry, right? So I'm going to just type in software developer entry level. Notice what happens with all the options that pop up. The ones that I want you to focus on, you'll notice they have the red arrows, are the ones where I know someone or I have an alum that works there. An alum is someone that I went to school with. This could be high school, college, grad school, med school, law school. It does not matter, but it shows that I have an alum. Now, this screen here shows you the importance of continuing to build your LinkedIn network, because if you're not networking with people that you used to work with, if you're not connecting with people that you used to go to school with, you're not going to see these options. Now, these people that work for these companies that you have a connection with, you already know them. They could be your in. So this screen, I'm going to tell you, is one of the most important screens I'm going to share with you today, because it shows the importance of connecting with your network. And of course, we have LinkedIn to do that. There's other tools and resources out there, but LinkedIn is the fastest, the easiest, the cheapest way to do it, okay? And I'm not even talking about purchasing a LinkedIn premium account, okay? So again, this shows me who I know. I would highly recommend targeting those positions first. Now, if you're like, Heather, I have 50 connections on LinkedIn, start connecting right now. Connect today with 10 people, connect tomorrow with 10 people. And these are people maybe you know virtually, maybe you've met in person before, maybe you don't even know them and you want to still reach out and get to know them. So it could be anyone, but again, pay attention to that part. Now, how I'm going to look at this job posting. So I just selected one of the positions that it listed for me. It's an entry-level software developer. So again, I'm Amy, and I'm evaluating who's hiring. Now, I'm using this more of research purposes, but also I can apply for these positions. I can go in and I can apply for these positions, but there's a few things I need to do before. And any job seeker, this is the same step. You're going to take this exact same step. I'm going to go in and I'm going to evaluate the posting. Okay. So first of all, and every posting is a little bit different, but what you'll notice is they all kind of follow the same general guideline. Okay. So notice that it's giving me my minimum qualifications. They're looking for someone that has, let's see, it says skills in one or more general purpose programming languages. Okay, so they want someone with one or more. They're looking for someone that has front end, back end, and mobile development. Okay. We're then going to look at their preferred qualifications. So they want someone that has Java, C, C++, C#, Objective-C, yada, 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 all those programming things, okay? But then notice it says openness and ability to learn additional coding languages. This is awesome, because this is saying, as if I'm Amy, I can be like, hey, I'm very open, and I have like a passion and the ability to learn additional or new coding languages. So that's something you're going to mention on your resume, your LinkedIn profile, your cover letter, and your interview, okay? We're pulling this directly from the job posting, keep in mind. Next, they're talking about, well, what will you do? They need someone that can write code, develop, test, deploy, improve, and maintain software. Okay, so Amy, again, is going to implement all of that into her career materials or her career documentation. And then finally, they're saying, well, what is it that we do as a company? So they're talking about how they work with freelance designers to help companies scale their engineering teams. Well, Amy could say, hey, in my previous position, I had the opportunity to work with freelance designers, and I understand how they conceptualize things, or I understand whatever about freelance designers. So now she's saying, from my experience, this is what I've learned about this type of worker or this industry. Okay, so we're trying to connect the dots here, right? Now, I want to know in the chat from you, what industry are you transitioning out of and into? So if you're a career switcher or a career changer, what industry are you switching out of or transitioning out of and into? So I want to kind of see if this lines up with what you guys are doing. If you're not a career changer and you're here as a job seeker, fantastic. Let me know in the chat what is your job title, or what job title are you looking to gain? I'm going to just check you guys out in the chat really quick. Awesome. Tori's taking questions. She's also answering questions in there for you. If you guys have questions, get them in. It looks like we have a couple in, and we will get those answered. I have a few more slides to share with you guys, and then we'll jump into like a real Q&A session here. So type in, what industry are you transitioning out of and into? Let me take a quick drink. Awesome. G Moore is asking a question. Where is the LinkedIn mini course? Tori will pop a link for you. G Moore. I'm not sure who G Moore is, but she'll pop a link for you. It's a 5-day email mini course. If you guys have not yet checked that out and you're new to LinkedIn, it is a fantastic resource. It's free for 5 days. It's an email course. You get emails from me telling you, do this on day 1, do this on day 2, so on and so forth. Awesome. Okay, good. It looks like you guys, we have some good. Kristen says she's switching from education to healthcare. Fantastic, Kirsten, sorry. I know I always call you Kristen, and I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Kirsten. Let's see. Irene says, as of now, I'm thinking of becoming an ABA therapist from a physical education teacher. I'm still working into it. I haven't made a decision yet. Fantastic. Miss Ghana is switching from IT to accounting and finance. Fantastic. Eric is from retail management into customer success manager. Fantastic. And Eric, let me also, Tori, I don't know if I gave you this link to share, but let me mention this really quick, you guys. I want to give you a good starting point. We are going to talk about resumes in just a second, and I'm going to give you some really clear examples. If you do not have a really good, solid resume template to start with, let me share with you, let me pull this up really quick. Tori will give you guys this link. I have a free resume template that hundreds of thousands of job seekers have used. This template is so phenomenal. When people use it, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. You go in, enter your name, your email address. Let me see. This is what it looks like. Let me show you the slide or the screen that you'll get to. You're going to just click on free resume template. There's a little button there. Enter your name and email address on that screen, and I will send you the free template to your inbox. You do have to confirm your information before I send this to you, just to make sure you're not a bot. But this is what the template looks like. It's such a fantastic resource to start with if you do not have a resume template to work from. We're going to talk a little bit about this template, well, at least the top part, as we go through today's live stream. But just know, someone had mentioned something about their resume inside the chat there. And so this gives you a really good starting point. So if you do not have that yet, make sure you grab it. Tori will pop that in. She's also popping in the link to the free LinkedIn mini course. So a lot of good, juicy freebies for you guys today, just to help you get started. So, okay, let's jump into, tip number 3. So tip number 3 is, now we need to map your skills to the new position. So you know what the new positions requires, you know who's hiring. We now need to look at, what do you do? So what are some of your skills, or what have you done that can now go into this new industry? So I'm going to share with you guys a couple screens here. I want you to be very aware of your hard versus your soft skills. So these are both very necessary in today's job market. But again, your hard skills, and you guys have probably heard me talk about this before if you've attended a live stream, and we actually talk about this in next week's live resume writing virtual event. So if you're still confused on your resume and your resume is not getting you to where you want to go, make sure you're at that event. So hard skills are basically skills that you've learned through education or training or your work experience, okay? So this is an example of what I would have for hard skills for Amy. Remembers Amy's example? She's moving into software development. These are some of the things that we would like her to have, right? Soft skills, again, these are going to be like your behavior or your character traits. These are still equally as important. They're a little bit harder to quantify, but again, we need someone that's, that has good communication skills, leadership, teamwork, time management, creativity, yada, yada, yada. These are just a few of the examples. So what we're going to do as a job seeker, what you're going to do as a job seeker, is you're first going to map your own skills. So this means making a list of, what skills do I have, hard and soft skills, so that you've learned through education, through training, maybe just your character traits as a person. List those. And I only have 5 spots here, but list 20, list 30, whatever, it doesn't matter. This is just to give you an idea of how you're going to put this together. The next thing you're going to do is now you're going to list the skills that you need for the new role. Okay, so if I'm Amy and I look back to the job posting that I noticed, they want someone that can write code, develop, test, deploy, all that good stuff. So I'm going to put some of those skills in. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in the gap. So I'm now going to say, well, what areas can I improve in? Again, I mentioned this earlier. Based on my research and all that I know, what new skills do I need to acquire? And again, what is that timeline going to look like? How fast can I get these new skills? Does it involve any sort of continuing education? So you really want to think about that. Think of LinkedIn Learning as a resource. Okay, there's a lot of free courses, and if you're a LinkedIn Premium member, you can jump into a lot of those courses right now. Just to learn some of these new skills so that you can add it to your resume, you can add them to your LinkedIn profile. Also, what I want you to think about here is when you're presenting yourself to the employer, how are they going to see you? Like, what are they evaluating you on? Because keep in mind, there's going to be a whole lot of other people applying for this same job. And the people applying for this same job, they might have the skills already, and they might have already been working in that industry for 5-10 years. So what you have to come to the table with now is, how am I filling in the gap? What is my unique contribution that someone else won't be able to contribute? Like, how am I going to bring my unique perspective and really kind of help the employer with some of their biggest pain points or some of the biggest challenges that they might be having? So with that in mind, I'm going to ask you guys one more question. What is your biggest takeaway so far? So we've shared, we're getting close here. We've shared quite a few tips with you. What is your biggest takeaway so far? So we've talked about doing your research using the US Bureau of Labor Statistics. We talked about finding out who's hiring. We talked about how to map your skills. I still have a few more steps to share with you. What is your biggest takeaway so far? And while you're typing that into the chat, tip number 4 is who can help you. So again, this is probably one of the most important tips that I'm going to share with you today. Just like I said, when you're evaluating those job postings on LinkedIn, you're looking for who do you know that works for those companies. Well, now we're looking at who can help you. Okay, so who do you know, or who do you know that knows someone that can put you in touch with the right people? So here are some things I want you to think about. Reach out to your connectors. And if you haven't heard me say this before, your connectors are people that are connected to a lot of people, okay? Like, you know, and if you're not one of these people, you know other people, and I have these people in my life that they know everyone. It's like I have a friend, a sister-in-law, a brother. My son is even like this, that they will connect and network with anyone because they're friendly, they're charismatic, they know a lot of people. Those are the people you need to be reaching out to, okay? And even just a simple, hey, how are you doing? How's your life during COVID? Just start the conversation and then go into, if you haven't heard, you could even say something like, I was laid off recently because of COVID, or and this is like, COVID is like, let me just tell you guys, as crazy and downtrodden as it is, it's also giving the perfect opportunity for you to network and make that career change. So now your opportunity is, hey, because of COVID, I've recently decided to switch careers, or I'm making a career transition. Do you know anyone that is hiring for X, Y, and Z? So there's so many ways that you can phrase this message, but reach out to your connectors. The second part is create and establish new relationships. So if I'm Amy and I'm looking for a position as a software developer, I'm going to go to LinkedIn and I'm going to type in software developer, and I'm going to make sure I'm networking with every single software developer in my either neighborhood, city, state, country, whatever. And I'm going to start reaching out to all of them. The next thing, conduct informational interviews. Now, this is the perfect opportunity to conduct informational interviews. And I know Linda's here. Linda is the queen of reaching out and asking for informational interviews, Linda. And keep it up, girl, because the informational interviews are so powerful. But informational interviews are basically kind of your pathway to learn more about the position. This is where you can start asking people, hey, what do you like about your job? What don't you like? You could even ask them, how much do you make, if you know, or phrase the question a little bit better if you want. But you can start like getting to know more about the industry. And then you could also say, can you put me in touch with anyone that might be hiring? Or what can you tell me? What can I do over the next year or 6 months so that I'm qualified for a position in this industry? And the next one is join relevant groups. Now, I still want to jump into resumes with you guys in just a second here, but joining relevant groups and organizations is so critical. I did a live stream on this. It's probably been a month ago where I showed you guys exactly how to go to Facebook and LinkedIn and search for online groups in your specific area. That's one thing that you want to do, start connecting with people. And speaking of groups, the Career Club is a fantastic way. So Tori's popping that into the chat for you guys to network and connect with people and get questions answered by real job seekers. And we really monitor this group, and we make sure that there's only positive, thoughtful comments happening and that only real professionals are in there. So this is a really high quality conversation group happening right now. So, okay, let's jump into, I want to see where you guys are in terms of what you are seeing is your biggest takeaway so far. And then I want to share with you more about your resume and LinkedIn profile. So let's see. Kirsten says skills. Fantastic. Angela, it says takeaway, how to do your research. Aswin says, hello, professor. Hello. Let's see. It looks like we have a lot of map your skills. Irene says U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics and map your skills. Mapping the skills. Yes, the Bureau of Labor site is one of my favorites. I'm so glad you guys are getting that, and because it's such a fantastic resource. Even if you're not in the United States, it's still a great place for research. So fantastic. Let's see. Catherine says, I don't think they're caught on here in the UK, and that goes for, I think you're talking about your informational interviews have not caught on in the UK yet. As well as disruptive cover letters. Yep. So informational interviews are so dang powerful. And I feel like it's one of those things that, and you don't even have to call it that, Catherine. It could be called something totally different in the UK. But think about, just asking someone for a quick Zoom call, or asking someone to go have a coffee, asking someone, whatever, for lunch, or I get people that do this all the time, and sometimes it works out and I can do it, and that's great, and I'll put it into my schedule. Sometimes I can't because of my schedule, but again, if you reach out to 10 people, you might get 3 of them that say, yeah, I can do an informational interview with you. And then that's your perfect opportunity to learn more. So fantastic comments, guys. Okay, let's jump into our 5th tip, and then I'm going to answer some questions. It looks like we have a couple in here. Make sure you get those in. This will be a fantastic way for you guys to get questions answered about some of your biggest career challenges. Pop those into the chat, and Tori will get them in front of me. Okay, let's talk about tip number 5, because I think this is an important one as well. So tip number 5 is to update your resume and your LinkedIn profile. So you are a career changer, so you know how important it is to have a resume and a LinkedIn profile that reflects this career change. So one tip I want to share with you before I give you like exact examples here is I want you to write your profile or your resume to the new career. Okay. Think of the future. We're not thinking of the past, even though you still want to have your skills, your experience, all the cool things you've done in your back pocket. You're going to still have that, but you're moving forward, looking at the future. Like, where is it that I want to go? And that's how you're going to tailor everything. You're basically tailoring it to the new industry. Okay. So let's jump into a couple of examples here. So I'm going to share the resume example first, and then we'll talk a little bit about LinkedIn. So when it comes to your resume example, I'm only going to really kind of share with you guys the top half. Again, download the free resume template if you do not have that already. Tori will have the link for you. She's popping in a lot of really good resources for you guys in the chat. We'll also make sure they're in the comments down below if you're watching this on the replay. But when it comes to the resume, your summary is going to really be like the biggest impact. Now, there's other things that we can talk about. That's going to be a whole nother live stream for another day where we focus just on resume for career changers. But I want to give you just a few things you could apply right now today. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with our title. So the title is going to be the position that you want. Now, if I'm Amy, I might not be a software developer just yet, but remember, I want you to look to the future, not look to the past, okay? And no one is out there on the planet saying you can't do this, okay? And let me tell you, this is working for job seekers right now. So the first thing we're gonna add is our title to the top. Next thing we're gonna do is we wanna add 3 key skills that we're finding in the job posting that match our abilities. Now, we're not going to add something like an ability that we don't have. Now, Amy sent me her resume before, so I was able to look at her resume to make sure she has these skills. But then what we were able to do is match it to the job posting, and we were able to say the job posting wants programming, so we listed object-oriented programming. The job posting is cross-platform software, sort of, pretty close, and then strategic planning. These are all things that we could pull from Amy's resume as a graphic designer and from what we know the new industry is looking for, and we pop those up to the top. That's our 3 key skills. After that, we're then going to include a summary. A summary is going to basically be some of your biggest projects, biggest accomplishments. How are you going to help the company solve their problems? So basically, in 3 to 4 sentences, that's what you have to do. But what I want you to notice here is we are starting with 3 action words that are needed for someone in this new industry to be successful. And it's pulled directly from the job posting. So innovative, dynamic, and resourceful. Okay, so those 3 things we're pulling directly from the job posting and we're popping them into our resume summary. Okay, now who knows if Amy is really that innovative, which we're hoping she is because she's going into this industry. But again, you can pull any words that you want, but we want them to apply to the new industry or the new job posting. The other thing I want you to notice here is notice how I'm mentioning software developer again, but I'm bolding it. Now, one thing you could do is you could switch this out. Like you don't have to have the word software developer. Maybe there's another term that the industry is using. Put that in there so that you're hitting on all those keywords, okay? So that if you do have to submit for an applicant tracking system, they're noticing you. Now, the next thing I want you to notice in this summary is I want you to notice how we are adding, how we're talking about her experience. So we're saying the proficiency to develop simple software solutions using, and we're adding some keywords, and then we're saying that she's dedicated to yada, yada, yada. And then the last thing I want you to notice here is we say expertise in, and we're listing things directly from the job posting: debugging, front-end development, interpersonal communication, and team building. Now, if you don't feel like you're an expert, you could say proficient in. You don't have to be an expert. If you are an expert, you could say specializing in, mastery in. I like expertise in. There's so many ways you could do this. There's not one right way. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now, the next thing after your summary, this is the last part we're going to cover when it comes to the resume, is listing a competency section. So your competency section is going to be a list of the skills needed in the job posting and in the new industry, and then some of the things that you have right now. Now, the only thing I would do different here with this example when it comes to Amy's situation is I like to see soft skills. I don't want to just see a competency section with just hard skills, because hard skills are easy to list. Java, Agile, SDLC, Spring Boot, all that good stuff. I want to see some of your soft skills in here too. So I don't like your competencies to be more than 3 lines. Keep it to 3 lines, nice, short, simple, sweet. This is also going to help you get through that applicant tracking system. So what I want to know, tell me in the chat really quickly, what, when it comes to your resume, give me your thoughts on your top part of your resume. How would you rate that? Would you rate it on a scale of 1 to 10? 1 to 10, how would you rate the top part of your resume? Again, that's what we just covered just now. If you need to listen to this replay again, make sure you do, because we share a lot of information here. While you guys are typing that in, the last thing that I want to cover before we get into questions here is your summary, okay? I'm going to share a couple quick your LinkedIn summary, that is. And let's just call it the about section, because that's what it's called, but it's also a summary. I still call it a summary because I like that name better than the about section. But when it comes to LinkedIn, there's a couple things when you're writing that summary or your about section that I want you to remember. It needs to be very comparable to your resume. Okay, so you can take your summary from your resume and you could essentially put it into your summary in LinkedIn. The only difference is you need to speak in first person. Resume is not a first person speaking, okay? You're not going to say me, my, I, myself, those kinds of things. But when it comes to LinkedIn, LinkedIn is a little bit more casual platform. So in this case, you can say, I am passionate about this. I am driven. I am this. I am that. Me, my. You can put that terminology in there. So that's the only difference that I would have you do. The other thing, and I just mentioned this, is mention your passion and your drive. So even though you might not be the perfect ideal fit right now for that software developer position, but you have the passion and you have the drive to be like a kick butt employee, right? Like you're going to be the one that's coming in late, coming in early, leaving late, doing extra projects because you have that passion for that industry. You have that drive, okay? So again, we want to make sure that you mention that in your summary. I also want you to include headlines and bullet points, okay? So headlines will be and take a look at my LinkedIn profile, you guys, if you need examples. I always tell my clients, go to my profile and just use that as a template. And that will help you kind of streamline. But like you could have a headline that's like greatest accomplishments, greatest strengths, whatever. Like you can, and LinkedIn doesn't let you like specifically do a headline, but you could put caps, you could put bullet points. They don't actually have bullet points, but you copy and paste a bullet point from like another resource and pop it into your profile. And then the last one here is create an expertise section. Now your expertise section is very similar to your competencies on your resume. It's basically the exact same thing, okay? So make sure you put that expertise section in there. If we have time, I'm going to see where we are with questions. I might even try and pull up my profile for you guys so I can show you what I'm talking about when it comes to the expertise section, because this is so valuable. The other cool thing about this section is that it actually allows you to, let me pull this up. I think we can do this really quick here. So this is my profile. Let me scroll down really quickly to the about section. One thing I want you to remember with the about section is notice that it's only showing me the top 2 lines. Those top 2 lines are the most important, okay? But I'm going to go to see more. Notice what I mean by bullet points. Okay. I just have a little arrow bullet point that I'm using there. And then if I scroll down even more, notice what I mean by expertise. That's what I want you to include. That's very similar to what your core competency section is going to look like on your resume, but now we have it on your LinkedIn profile. And remember, you can change and update this as much or as little as you want. Okay. So that should give you a good idea of how to do resume, LinkedIn profile if you're switching careers, also where to start your job search, where to start even looking at what does the industry need. What you're going to do based on all this information is you're going to tailor all your career materials to the new position, and then you are going to tailor your interview responses to that new position. Now, if you want even more assistance on your resume, make sure you join us for our live. This is an encore live resume writing virtual event. Remember, I mentioned this earlier. We had over 3,000 people view this event in I think we had it up for a 3-day replay. Over close to 4,000 people viewed this event in 3 days. If you are unsure about your resume, you're not sure about how to customize it, you're not sure about how to write that attention-grabbing summary, you're wondering about the applicant tracking system, maybe you've been laid off because of COVID, plus I share a couple more details than what you'll see here, jump on over to the webinar encore registration page, enter your name, your email address, save your seat. You'll get an email from me that says, hey, are you a real person? I'm making sure you're a real person and not a bot. And then I say, confirm your email address, and then you'll get all the details for the event. So that's happening next week, October 6th. at 12 p.m. Eastern. Make sure you're there if you are wondering about your resume. We had people watch that training, and in just 2 days, they made changes to their resume. Within 2 days, they had an interview and landed a job because of, well, maybe 3 days. Okay, it probably took 3 days, but it took a couple days. They had changed their resume based on what they learned, got it submitted for a new position, and landed a new job. In fact, you can go into the Facebook group, our free group, and you'll see the individuals, they post it. They're like, Heather, I got a job because of this workshop. So make sure you guys are with me at that event. Also, make sure you join the career club. There's so many amazing professionals in there. We really do make sure that there are thoughtful comments and all that good stuff happening. So, okay, let me jump into some questions. Awesome, Linda. So Linda is in the Academy program. She says, is the 5-day course of LinkedIn inside of World Class Career Academy? The 5-day course it's more of in the video format. So any of my Academy students, you have the free 5-day course, but it's a video. Like it's not in email. If you want to do the email course though, Linda, totally jump in and do that. So Tori shared the link. You can go through that. You do get emails like every day from me for like 5 days. And I tell you, but you probably know a lot of that already because you're in the Academy. Okay, let's see. Someone says, I am working as a research analyst. Now I'm applying for a project manager. I do not have any experience as a project manager. How can I draft a resume for this? So hopefully I answered that question a little bit earlier when, like based on all the tips that I shared with you. So again, you're going to start with your research. You're going to learn what is needed in this new position, and then you're going to tailor your resume to that new position. Keep in mind too, if you are making that career change, you do need to evaluate what skills do you need? Like what new skills can you start acquiring? And go for those new skills. And you could even mention that on your resume, like in progress. It could be like even an in progress course or expected finish date or whatever that might be. Okay, Butt Pipe. I like your name. That's a fantastic screen name. My kids would like laugh their faces off at that. Okay. Are there any downsides to having a larger connection pool? You mentioned a while back not watering down your profile by having too much. I'd imagine connection pool is the exception. Yes. Okay. I'm glad you've been tuning into my live streams because yes, I have mentioned time and time again about when you're going to LinkedIn and you're making a connection request with someone, you want it to be meaningful. You're not just going to go connect with every random Bob and Sally out there on LinkedIn, okay? You're going to be connecting with real people that have something in common with you. Maybe they're going into the industry, they're in the industry you want to go into. You went to school with them. Maybe they know your friend Ted, whatever. Those meaningful connections are going to get you so much further. It doesn't matter if you have 5 connections and they're like, who are you? And you try and reach out to them and say, hey, by the way, like we're connected on LinkedIn. Can you help me find a job? Like that effort that you're going to put into that is probably not going to go very far. So that's why when you're building that connection pool on LinkedIn, yes, you want it to be high quality. Very good question. Okay, Lisa says, do you have a functional style resume? I am older and I think my age is hurting me. Lisa, I do actually offer inside of my Academy program, I do offer a number of different resume styles. I would say for you, Lisa, what you could do, you could start with the free resume template. I call it the 6-second resume. You could start with that. And then you can build out those functional items at the top, but I actually like to see your summary, very similar to what I mentioned earlier, the competencies, professional highlights, and then a competency section. Your highlights almost take on that functional resume format, if you know what I mean. And tune into next week's resume virtual event because I talk a lot more about that. Okay, someone's asking, any recommendations for coding tutorials, trying to up my skills for C++? Yes, go to LinkedIn Learning. You should find some pretty high quality content. Also, any other programmers or software developers in here, if you guys have any resources that you use, pop that into the chat as well. Angela, hello. So glad that you could make it today. Angela says, would you be willing to go into more detail about informational interviews and how to conduct yourself, network with recruiters and professionals on LinkedIn in a future video? Yes. And Angela, you're in the Career Club, I'm pretty sure. So yes, next live stream topic, I think we're going to start moving into doing some more live streams on LinkedIn because I know how much you guys appreciate the LinkedIn topics. So I think we're going to do more of that, but definitely I love talking about this stuff and especially LinkedIn. So I will put that on my list, Angela. Amy, how do you prepare for a hiring committee peer review? Okay, this is Amy, this is almost a topic that we could talk about for a while. So when it comes to, it depends. First of all, I'd love to know more about like what industry you're in, what the title is, like all that good stuff. Before you even do that, before I even like give you some tips here, I would love to know a little bit more background information on it. But when it comes to, this is tough because I was in this situation before. When I was hired in to be an academic dean, I was placed as the dean, but then I was actually I was now managing all of the people that were my friends, and they were on my same team, and it was really difficult. It was a really difficult process. I think this is where people skills really comes into play, and really figuring out like what are they looking for someone in that ideal position? Like what skills and qualifications do they need in someone, and really coming to the table with those skills and qualifications. I think, Amy, you posted that question in the Facebook group. If I remember right, I think I saw that. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one. And hopefully, I think hopefully you also got some other input there as well. Okay, awesome. So, Amy, Tori's giving me your response. She said the marketing, and it's the third interview. Okay, so here's the thing, Amy, and this is going to go with any job search. When it comes to this, so you probably know the industry really well. You probably know pain points. You probably know problems, the largest problems that industry is facing. But not only that, like some of the biggest problems that person in the position would need to solve. Make sure you come to the table with that. And make sure you come to the table with some really good stories that show, hey, this market. Let's just call yourself a marketing manager. This marketing manager. They need to be able to solve the XYZ problem. Well, this is how I can do it. And then you say, for example, or because of this one situation that happened or whatever, like have really good stories to back up what you're saying. Okay. Because those stories paint pictures for people. Good luck on that, Amy. If you have any other follow-up questions, pop them into the Facebook group as well. And I'll make sure I jump in there later today. Okay, let's see. Irene says, what should you do if you're working somewhere but are getting emails from other employers? Is it okay to go for interviews and leave your current job if you get hired somewhere else? Just asking because I don't want to burn bridges. Oh, this is a good question, Irene. Yes, it's 100% okay for you to go and be looking for other positions if your current job is not a fit. It doesn't always have to be about I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit. It doesn't always have to be about burning bridges. Like when you resign from one position and you move on to another position, you're basically saying, hey, like I'm ready for a new career challenge. I'm ready for a new career opportunity, and this new company can give that to me. But hey, before I leave and do that, what can I do to make sure, I tie up any loose ends? What can I do to train a new person? What can I do, to make sure there's a smooth transition so that when I leave, you guys aren't left high and dry. So 100%, if there are other opportunities, and I always say, keep all the doors open. Like I don't like to close doors. If I think that door might lead me somewhere else in the future, I keep doors open at all costs, okay? So do the same thing, Irene. Let's see. Okay, the Chris channel says, I thought recruiters didn't like paragraphs. It depends on what recruiters you're talking about and what you mean by paragraphs. Are you talking about in LinkedIn or on your resume? I think it totally depends on the recruiter and it depends on the information. So let's say, for example, if you have a paragraph followed by like a couple bullet points on a resume, that's fine. If you have a paragraph followed by a couple bullet points in your LinkedIn about section, that's fine too. We just want it easy to read. And that's what I think is what you might be saying there. Linda says, are diplomas obtained from college deemed as valuable by employers as public colleges? Just asking because the private colleges aren't as intensive in course load as a public college. Linda, I think it depends on who you're interviewing with. Most employers will see a college A and college B. They're not going to really like segment, but you might have an employer that's like, they love college A and they know that college B might not be as good as college A, and they might hire because you went to college A. I wouldn't make it an issue. I would focus, Linda, instead on like projects you've accomplished while you were there, like some of the biggest things that you've worked on, your skills, your talents, your expertise, what you're bringing to the table, rather than the college that you went to. And you might just run into people that they might say, hey, we don't think that the college you went to was great. And then you move on and you're exploring new opportunities. But I don't know if it's as big of an issue as you might think it might be. Okay, awesome. So Aswin says, can you share some insight to edit the parts from your template? Let's see. I think that's another question. I'm not sure what you mean by edit the parts. So, I think I know what you're saying. You're saying like what to put in. Join me for next week's live virtual event where we're going to talk a lot about that, and I'll show you exactly what you need to do. Because it's all about resumes next week. One of my favorite topics. Okay, Sean, how do you prepare for a hiring? Oh, okay. Someone else asked that as well. The peer review. That's a big question. Maybe we should start up a topic inside our Facebook group and get some good feedback on that. And maybe Sean's the one that asked the question this week. Okay. Luciana says, how to prepare for 6 interviews at the same day for a position. Each interview will be 45 minutes. Oh, okay. I've had clients before who they've done this, like for example, Amazon, and they will have you come in and you'll meet with like one person in one interview. You might meet with another, like 2 people the next time. If you have control over when everything is scheduled, schedule in or make sure you give yourself breaks in between, like even if it's 10 or 15-minute breaks, and then make sure you schedule yourself a lunch if you can, and a dinner if you can, like schedule little breaks in between. And then don't be afraid. Here's the other tip I want to share with you. Don't be afraid that if you have 6 different interviewers or 6 different groups of people, don't be afraid to share the same thing, because repetition is not bad. It's actually a good thing. You guys will see me repeat things all the time here. Don't be afraid to share like the same story over and over. But if I had to just give you a couple tips, schedule your breaks. Don't be afraid to say the same thing. And of course, any general interview prep, make sure you know exactly what they're looking for, and make sure you have stories to back it up, like examples that you can share about how you've done things in the past. So exciting. Good luck on that interview. I can't believe 45 minutes each. Yep, you definitely are going to need some breaks in between. Okay, Eric says, when reaching out to others on LinkedIn, what do you think the message should look like in order to get a response? Eric, I would say you have to bring something in that relates to the person. Like, don't just be like, hey, would you mind if we connect? You could say, hey, I noticed that you do X, Y, and Z, or I noticed that you went to college ABC, or I noticed that you yada, yada, yada. I'm also whatever. Like, how can you relate it to you? And then say, would you mind if we connect here on LinkedIn? Okay. So anytime you can bring in something from there, and I get it, you don't want to go look at everyone's profile and learn something about them, but even just their title. Like I noticed that you're a software developer for company XYZ. This is a field I'm super passionate about entering in the next year. Would you mind if we connect on LinkedIn? Could be something as simple as that. You could copy and paste that same message, but make sure you include their name. Okay, Michael Tate says, are you finding that LinkedIn is posting positions as new or refreshing them? However, the jobs have been posted for months. This can be frustrating. Yes, this is why I discourage sometimes going out online and just looking for jobs, because I feel like there is old content. There could be inaccurate content. Sometimes you even find fake job postings. Like there's a lot of reasons why not to do that. I like to do it for research purposes. And then you start connecting the dots with who works there, who do you know that works there, who can you do an informational interview with, who can put in a good word for you, who can give you a referral. Like there's a lot of different pieces that you have to put together to make it really, really happen. And just be really careful of, yeah, it is frustrating because there's so much online content out there. Like there's so much that, and some companies don't even think about, oh, we posted this job 2 months ago. Maybe we should take it down because we've already hired for it. So yeah, you do have to kind of like use it with a grain of salt. I still have clients and students that do get jobs this way, but it's more effective again by using your network and really connecting with people. Demetrius, hello. How do you get paid for online interviews if you are new to social media? Oh, sorry. How do you get prepared for online interviews if you are new to social media? Practice. So, Demetrius, what I would recommend doing, I do have a video. Tori, if you can pop that into the chat, I have a video that walks you through video interviews and how to prepare for those. I would watch that. I would do a lot of practice. It's very similar to in-person. You're also going to be looking directly at the camera. So you'll notice my camera's here. I have notes here. I have another screen that I watch here. Like I have like a bunch of different screens, but I know when I'm talking to you, I'm looking at you. And so there's a lot of different, like if you even download Zoom to your own workstation and practice looking at the camera, and Zoom will let you record yourself, look at the camera, talk, answer some questions. You know what I mean? It's a little awkward. And trust me, I do not like to watch my videos back. Like I'll post this and I will never go watch it again because it's like, it's uncomfortable for us to watch ourselves on screen, right? So, but I say as an interviewer, as preparing for interviews, it's really useful for you to do that because it's going to give you like, hey, do I have these weird mannerisms? Like I'm always doing this, you know, and then I don't know what else I do, and then I'm like, oh, why did I do that? But you're in your head more than any other person. So they're not going to see all those things that you might see, but just practice. Good question. Zeal says, I am a physical therapist in India and planning to get settled in the United States as a healthcare analyst. How do I develop connections? Who can help me transition to this new position? Good question. So I would actually start networking with people that work for companies that you might want to work for, or maybe even just people with that title, healthcare analyst, on LinkedIn, because you can search for just the jobs and then, or excuse me, not jobs, but people, and start connecting with those people. Make it meaningful. You know, we don't want to spam them. Make it really mean something. So fantastic questions. Let me just jump in here really quickly, make sure that we got most of these answered. Fantastic. And for those that are still here with me, remember we have our Encore Live Resume Writing virtual event. If you have not yet saved your seat for that event, make sure you do. This event, we are not going to have this event again until 2021. So this is kind of like a full-on resume writing workshop. You're going to take notes. You're going to take a lot of notes, actually, and hopefully use what I'm going to teach you to land more interviews and better job offers. So that's the goal for this event, professораustin.com/live class. Make sure also if you missed any of the other free resources today. I saw Tori pop in the link to the Facebook group. She popped in the link to, of course, the resume event, a free resume template that you can grab. Make sure you take a look at all that good stuff. If you're just feeling stuck and you need a little bit of help to get you unstuck, make sure you take a look at all that. Again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you're notified when I do these live events or when I publish a new video to help you in your job search. And again, join the Facebook group on Facebook, the Career Club. We have some fantastic conversations happening in there right now. So I will see you guys again next week, same time, same place, and we'll connect soon.